With the seventh selection of the draft, the Flyers are proud to select from St. Petersburg in the KHL, Matvei Michkov.
This is episode 98 of the Liberty O. Danny D, we're here with Chris Stumpo.
We're here, baby. Let's fucking go. We're here. Let's
Danny
go.
Briere, nuts on the table, drafts Matvei Michkov, 7th overall. After all the smoke screens, speculation, is Washington going to move up? Yeah. Briere is in Bridgestone Arena early today talking to Arizona. Like, basically, hey, if Washington offers you something, you let me know and I'll fucking match it. You don't let them go above me. I want Michkov. I'm just very, as you can tell, I'm very excited. I mean, this is the biggest moment in my fandom. And I mean that seriously.
Yeah.
It's absolutely game-changing. This guy, he's going to be a superstar. This is the biggest thing to happen to this organization, probably since Eric Lindros.
I mean, in terms of pure talent, absolutely. Pure excitement, absolutely. I mean, how many times have me and you sat on text and talked about if this guy is named William Smith or William fucking any kind of different name, or if he's any kind of different, not Russian, he is second, first, you know what I mean? Like, he's in that he's that talented, and he fell all the way to 7, and like you said, Briere dropped his balls on the fucking table and took them. When you're in a rebuild like we are in, and we're going to go through, you take risks like this, and man, I'm still sitting here kind of like processing it, if you know what I mean? Like, it's...
I love the way the front office moved. That's what really excites me.
Right,
like, you could see the difference from the last regime to this regime. Mm-hmm. They played this like chess, and they had to. Like, he's that good of a player.
He's ridiculous.
And they executed. I remember going into this morning, I texted you. I was like, this is a huge moment that it's just they have to execute.
Yeah.
And they went out and they executed. And now it's the biggest day, like, in my lifetime as a Flyers fan. I've seen a lot of losing. Keep that in mind. I've seen a lot of mediocrity. Seen a lot of bad players. So the bar isn't high. But this is the best day in my fandom, and I'm very excited. He seems like he really wanted to be here. They met in Voorhees.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. They met in Voorhees. Apparently, there was just this mutual understanding of, hey, I would like to come here, and hey, we also would like you to come. We also would like to draft you. And it was so under the radar, unreported, that it was just played beautifully. It really was.
It really was, dude. I mean, we sat and talked about, is it... I mean, I personally thought Benson was the guy like they were kind of throwing the smoke screens for. You were always kind of Michkov the last 2 or 3 days, but to actually have him fall the way he did, and Luke, shout out Luke, my boy, he FaceTimed me and we were talking right after the pick happened, and for the board to fall the way it fell, Danny, I mean, like, you couldn't have asked for anything more, right?
But, like, we said that, though, didn't we? Remember the motherfuckers on our Twitter thread saying, like, oh, but look at the national rankings. It's not going to play out that way. And we stayed trying to stress there's always curveballs. And what do you know? It happened in the second pick.
Yeah.
Literally the second pick, you're already seeing curveballs. So that's what we say when it... Listen, NHL GMs, they're pretty hard-headed. They like who they like. Nothing plays out to Craig Button's board all the time. It just doesn't happen.
I mean, Button had Wood going like 5th, I think. So, definitely not there. But, I mean, in terms of, like, TLY rankings, I mean, we had Carlson 2nd, I think, right after Bedard. I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, in terms of me and Derek, I mean, I know you're not so much on the prospect side, but I mean, in terms of me and Derek, Carlson going 2nd really is not that much of a surprise. I mean, we've had discussions where we think Carlson ends up being the best player in the draft outside of Michkov and Bedard.
Yeah. I actually wasn't surprised at all, just because the Anaheim Ducks have been so quiet that I knew something was up. That's always a sign when a team is that quiet. Like when Montreal was very quiet on the Shane Wright thing. Like you didn't hear a lot. Like, you just always know something's up when a team's quiet. You always know that they might go a different direction. The Devils were a little quiet when it came to Nolan Patrick. Like it's always happens. So, like, yeah, I get your sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, and also looking back on the whole Montreal thing over the past couple of weeks, I mean, how many rumors have you heard come from them? And I keep stressing the fact, I mean, I'm pretty sure I texted you today, I think, about it. It's just, how many times do you see just bullshit before a draft? 2-3 days. And I mean, GMs lie during this time. It's the biggest time of lying, if you will, in terms of an NHL offseason. And we really saw it with the last couple of days between Montreal, between Philly, in terms of, I mean, if you were keeping up on Twitter like we have, you've seen a lot of things. Whether or not you believed what you saw is another thing. But, I mean, you've seen a lot of rumors. You've seen a lot of Montreal loves him. Montreal loves this guy. Philly loves this guy. And, I mean, it turns out to not all be right, obviously, because not everything you see on Twitter is correct. But to just go back to how the board fell, man. I mean, you sat there like, it can't be anybody other than, like, Benson. And even if it is Benson, you're still kind of upset because Michov's just sitting there waiting for you.
I will say you called the two defensemen going before 7 thing.
Yeah.
Like you and Derek called that, I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly certain in one of your mock drafts that you guys did. I'm pretty sure I saw you guys have.
I had I'm sorry to cut you off. I had Reinbacher to Arizona. I'm pretty sure that pick. Either Arizona or Montreal, I had him going. But I did not have Simashev, or Simashev, whatever his name is to pronounce it, going to Arizona.
But yeah, that one was...
Reinbacher going to Montreal was kind of, okay, that makes sense. I don't know if I said Arizona before that, but Montreal picking Reinbacher kind of, it makes sense. I mean, they need a right-handed defenseman so bad, and he's one of the top guys in the draft. So, but yeah, going back to that mock draft, it kind of matches up well. I mean, at least the top 5 in terms of like the actual players that were taken.
San Jose, like it came out they wanted Smith. That played out according to plan. That was obviously not a smokescreen. There was some talk about Reinbacher to Montreal, so yeah, it did kind of play out the way.
Colorado just went Callum Ritchie, by the way. Sharks got Musty, which is a guy that I've been looking at pretty heavy the last couple months.
Remember the last couple days when I was texting you and I was like, think about it. Like Hayes' retention is for 3 years. They wanted to bring on Krug, who's there for about 3 or 4 years. I think it's 4, but I'm not entirely sure. They're bringing on Cal Peterson for 2 years. Obviously, they're looking to make more moves and bring on. So their timeline was clearly already 2 to 3 years, and that started opening my eyes the last couple of days to like, hey, are they making a push for this? Do they think it's realistic? Is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And when they started making those moves, I kind of got the sense that like they have some information that they think that this could happen. And I just can't believe it happened.
I know.
Because in my entire life of being a Flyers fan, nothing ever plays out the way I want it to. Ever. If I want a guy going into a draft, I'm not going to get him. If I want to just pick at where we're picking, that's not going to happen. We're going to train back 4 spots. But it's just nice to get a draft once that everyone can be excited about, get a name. And I almost compare it to Jalen Carter and the Eagles level of pick.
That's actually really, really weird that you say that, because I'm pretty sure that's a thing that I tweeted out like 2 weeks ago. Like, what if Michkov falls like Jalen Carter falls, because he's not really supposed to fall, but he does, and just lands right on our laps, and it happens. Like exactly what you just said. This never happens to us. What did I text you before the draft even started, like 2-3 hours before? Can we just get the one guy that the entire fan base is just enamored over? You know what I mean? Just can we get the guy that everybody and their mom knows the name of? Can we just finally do that? And we have him. We have him in his post game. I was about to say post game. Soon, Chris. Soon, not yet. But his post draft interview I saw it on Twitter, one of the tweets. I'm pretty sure TLY retweeted it, so if you want to see it, go on our page. Saying that this is the team that he wanted to go to and how he knows that we haven't won a cup in blank years and how he wants to do that once he gets here, and that's why he's here, and that's why he's coming here. Just hearing that come from him and that he wanted to be here and how his interpreter was saying basically this is what we wanted. It's so nice to hear, man. I mean, we just got a superstar. I mean, this guy is a fucking generational talent. And he's in Philly, man. Like, he's going to be here in 2-3 years. And it matches up with our timeline perfectly. I mean, we've talked about that.
Oh, it's so perfectly.
So perfectly. When we talked about it in the previous podcast, it lines up. I mean, go into next year with your younger players who took steps in Frost, Cates, Tippett, York, all those guys. Go into next year, let them take even a more step, and then whenever Michkov comes in on ELC at 20, 21 years old, whenever that is, you're getting a star talent on a $925,000 deal.
And you're putting him right next to Cutter Gauthier.
Right next to
Who
Cutter.
is also going to be cost-controlled. Like, this is the path to winning, especially if you're going to hang on to a contract like Sean Couturier as he ages. This is the path to winning. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, it's getting bright, dude. It really is. This jump starts it a lot. It really does. Because that was the only missing piece. Me and you have sat here and said, like, the pipeline itself isn't that shabby. Like, it's salvageable. You can work with that. There's some good depth within it. You just need the piece on top, and now they fucking have the piece on top.
Exactly. There wasn't a guy in the draft system. And granted, I still think that Cutter Gauthier could be that guy in a year or 2 years. I mean, I really do think that he has the chance to be a superstar. But, I mean, we really didn't have that guy where, I mean, everyone in a consensus way looked at and went, yeah, he's a superstar. And that is Michkov. He is 100% a generational talent, and he is a Philadelphia Flyer.
No, yeah. We've never had a pick like, at least in our lifetimes, we've never had a pick like this. Like I said, the best hockey player I watched growing up, outside of like the 2010 team, I was like 10, 11. So like, I'm watching, but I'm a little kid. The best hockey player I've actually watched and understood the game is Claude Giroux, and this is levels beyond a late first round pick franchise great in Claude Giroux. This is box office. This is everybody in the Wells Fargo Center is going to have this man's jersey. He's going to be on top 10 list. He's going to be all over the NHL socials. He's going to be all over the ESPN ads when we go in to play our division rivals. Like, this is amazing for the league, first, more importantly, and it's amazing for the Flyers. This is such a home run. I'm so excited.
And like Bleed, our guy Bleed, day one, he made a really good point. This is going to get asses in seats, Danny. I mean, forget all that.
Can you imagine the debut? Oh my God.
That's what I said. Like, imagine the tailgate in the parking lot. I mean, I'll be there. Could you imagine the energy of his home opener when he's finally here? It's going to be absolutely fucking insane, man. Paired along with Cutter Gauthier, with Frost, with Tippett, Forrester, Andrea, Brink. I mean, there is light, like you said. It's not all doom and gloom. I mean, we can really sit here. I mean, this is a hell of a pick, and we're going to get into Oliver Bonk in a little bit and how taking Michkov kind of opens up the ability to reach for a guy like they did with Bonk. And Dank, if I'm butchering his name, I don't give a fuck. I'm like 3 or 4 beers deep. A joint.
Well, I assume it's Bonk, but...
Bonk. Boink. Bonk. Same fucking thing, right? Like, and I'm not going to sit here and try to talk like I understand. Not understand. Like, I know what this kid is. I really don't. I haven't really looked into him too much. I know he's 6'2". I know he's a defensive defenseman in
offensive game needs a little work, but apparently like he's got all the tools. His closeout ability is great. He's right-handed. I see the vision behind the. I mean, it's a big need. It really is. Like, it's the biggest need. Like, we just got a star right winger, so like, and we're already stacked at right wing. So it's like, I don't mind them going out and getting the need. Like, yes, did I want Perreault? Yes, absolutely. Like and seeing him go to the Rangers sucks. Like he's gonna be a hell of a player. But I see the vision here, and more importantly, I just trust the scouts, dude. I mean, you look at the last couple drafts, or the last couple first round picks, rather. You're talking Tyson Forster, Cam York, Cutter Gauthier, and now Matvei Michkov. Like, dude, I trust the regime. I trust the scouts.
Going too. Like, you could keep going with like Alexis Gendron over there in the QMJHL. Oh, yeah. You can keep going with Andrea, who they found in the second round,
and they have some good late round finds too throughout the years.
Yeah. So I mean, you have a lot of good picks that are still to be seen in terms of what they turn out to be as NHL prospects. I mean, as NHL players. And I mean, I always keep going back to your tweet that you tweeted out with Michkov. I mean, if you draft a guy like him, you have the opportunity and the freedom to draft a guy that you just see, like, hey, he might not be top 32 in most guys' or more scouts' boards, but we like him. And, I mean, that's something that I've been stressing on the timeline for a very long time. Just take the guy that you like. Yeah. Especially if you got a guy that you love that's 7. Just take the guy you like.
And they preached that, too. They said that once they got the pick. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, no, I totally agree. And, dude, not only that, they got the best player available, and it just so happened they needed star talent. Like, the two things they've been preaching all offseason, the two things is, we need star talent. We need elite talent, and we don't have it. We also need to fix the back end. They went into the first round, got the elite talent, and attempted to take a shot for the back end. So, like, I appreciate the vision, obviously, of the first round. And this is just 2023. Like, they got their franchise player already. That's what's beautiful about it, because now they're going to lose games again, probably, and they're going to have a stock load of picks next year. They're not done selling off players either. Sanheim might go.
I was just going to ask you about Sanheim. Do you think he goes for a second now that a lot of guys are kind of dropping back? I mean, we still have, what? Chris Stahl, Gavin Brindley, Jaden Perron, Riley Height, Gulyab still up there. I mean, we have a lot of guys that are still there, and they're probably going to go to the second round. It's a great point. So, it's great.
There's probably going to be a lot of conversations in between now and 11 a.m. tomorrow.
You think? We might wake up to a Sanheim trade. I mean, seriously, he might try. I mean, we do not have a second-round pick right now, so I mean, he might. I couldn't get a late first-round pick for Sanheim, but maybe I can come back into the second round with
maybe
these
he gets
guys.
2 seconds, one for 23, one for 24, or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
So I mean, there's still. I mean, we have till what, Saturday? That's July 1st to trade him. I mean, and who's to say he doesn't waive his no trade clause? I mean, if I'm Sanheim, I'm seeing that I was actively involved in the St. Louis trade, but that fell through, so it didn't happen. I actively know that they pivoted to other teams, and it didn't really happen because they didn't get what they wanted. I mean, are you not waiving your no trade clause? Yeah, I mean, I understand that you just signed an 8-year deal, but I mean, Jesus Christ, I would personally be like, okay, yeah, I'll waive it if you want to send me somewhere where they want me.
Funny enough, like, even despite all the losing, the guys here still just like playing here.
Yep.
And like, they just like the group of guys. Like, they're all good buddies, and maybe that's been a part of the problem in the past, as Cam Atkinson alluded to, the country club kind of feel. But I think that's why you see guys like Lawton, Sanheim, all these, they don't want to leave. Just because it is a tight-knit group of guys, but it is a business at the end of the day. Like, we're in a rebuild. So, I could see it, though. I mean, dude, like I said, there's a lot of time between now and 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, and it's almost kind of nice that there's a buffer in between here. There's a night in between, because you know they're going to go back to the drawing board tonight. They might have a cocktail or two, because that is a massive victory. And dude, it just, you know, the Capitals are sick. Like, you just know the Capitals are sick. You know their fans are sick, and I love it, because how many times was that us? How many times were we the Metro team that got the shit end of the stick on this day? We deserve this. We deserve this. We sat back and watched Jack Hughes go to the Devils. We sat back and watched the Rangers get some luck in their rebuild. It was our time, man. It was our time. And we got it. We got lucky. We got that stupid luck we've been asking for.
We did, dude. And I'm sitting here. I have NHL Network right in front of me, and right there pops up number 7, Matvei Michkov, Philly. with the Philly
when he
logo.
announced it, I was. Were you terrified? Like when he went up there?
Wait,
like
when he stuttered and he like smirked a little bit, I was like, "It's Michkov! It's Michkov! I know it is."
But seeing him walk up to the podium, it was like time like stood still for me, bro. I almost couldn't watch. I was just in complete shock looking at the screen because if that wasn't Michkov, it was going to take me a long time to recover. It really was.
This pod, if it wasn't Michkov, would have been weird as fuck, dude.
Yeah, it would have.
Because like if it was Leonard, I would have been sitting here trying to like convince you not to jump off a cliff, but I would totally understand why you would be upset. So it'd be a very weird pod for sure.
It would have been different if they didn't like. I said this going into it today, so it's either I wish he goes early, rip the Band-Aid off, San Jose takes him, fuck it, never had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather that than we get up to the podium at 7 with him available, and then that would haunt my nightmares forever. And them picking Michkov just felt different. It felt like a new era, didn't it? Because it really feels like the last era or the last couple eras would have taken a guy like Ryan Leonard. It really feels that way. Maybe I'm overblowing it. Maybe I'm gassing up this regime too much, but I just appreciate them actually going for best player available, taking the swing.
They did it, man. I mean, they did what we asked for.
And it's gonna be worth it, man. It's gonna be worth it because the next 2 years don't matter. The fact of the matter is, if you're in the bottom 10, if you're picking top 10 in this draft, you aren't going to do anything the next 2 years, probably. Nothing of note. You're probably not going to be winning anything. So it makes all the sense in the world. And these teams are going to regret this.
Yeah. I mean, I
these
think
teams are going to regret this.
I think the only team that could possibly do anything next year is Detroit. I mean, and they're 9. But other than that, yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're in the top 10, the long-term plan is to rebuild. I mean, not rebuild totally if you're like St. Louis or Vancouver or Washington or Detroit, but like you said, if you're like in the top 10, closer to like the 7-ish like we are, you're most likely not doing anything. So taking the best player available is the best choice. And like you said, the fact that they actually did it, they actually took the guy that everybody wanted, was clearly the best player on the board in terms of talent. I mean, this guy is number 2, arguably number 1.
And the way they did it, like they teed it up beautifully. They knew it. They wanted it going in, and they threw smoke screens out. Like I love the way they did it, man. I love the way this front office is moving.
Let's get into some questions. And we got a lot. I'm pretty sure it's like plus 10. Let's check real quick.
Jeez, that fast?
We got 9. We got 9. First one's from Dank. Chris, how drunk are you? Also, I dare you and Danny to chant Oliver Bonk 50 times in a row. Definitely not doing the latter. But how drunk am I? I could be more drunk. Absolutely. For the fact that we got Michkov, I should be up here stuttering every fucking word that I'm talking. But I'm not. But I should be. It's extremely exciting, man. I can't get the feeling, the emotion across. Just how exciting the fact that we landed this kid.
Bro, I keep laughing. I keep laughing.
I know. Like, trying to explain it to my pop when he comes home from work, I'm like, dude, like, you don't understand what just happened. I mean, we just got a fucking superstar, man. We really just got, like, one of the best prospects since Ovechkin.
Like, he's going to take the league by storm, bro.
I know.
He's probably going to win Calder when he comes in because he's going to be so NHL ready. He's going to be on that ELC, giving you top-line production. Cutter Gauthier is still going to be a cost-controlled RFA. Maybe he's locked up 8 years by then. Who the fuck knows? But, like, this is so big for our timeline. And now it's like it all makes sense. You understand the smirk in the interview.
Yeah.
You understand Briere in the Mert interview. They were teeing it up the whole time. It's beautiful.
Are there any concerns though? Obviously we're sitting here very happy, but I mean, like, we're gonna have the people that are talking about, oh, he's never gonna come over, and I always go back to the fact that, like, hey, this isn't the Fedotov situation. That's an outlier. You know what I mean? Like, Fedotov took ridiculously bad advice on how to evade his military mandatory service, and he paid for it. I mean, like, let's put it blunt. He paid for it. It sucks to see. Like, you don't like to see anybody you don't like to see anybody get thrown where Fedotov got thrown, but at the same time, that situation is not what's going to happen to Michkov because I just don't make the same mistake that he made. Is what I always come back to. You know what I mean?
Listen.
It's just it's an outlier, man.
Not worried at all. Russia loves when high-profile hockey players come to a North American city and light it up. They love seeing their guys because they take pride in hockey. They really do, especially on a national scale. And when you have Alex Ovechkin, for instance, he's about to break Wayne Gretzky's record. That means something to them. Like, they really care about that. They like showing off in America. Like, hey, we are better at hockey than you. Like, they like that. I have no concern about him coming over. I actually have no concern at all with this. Like, I'm so happy with this because he's going to play in the NHL. He would not have been in the building tonight. I mean, for crying out loud, if he wasn't going to. And you listen to his quotes. Like, he may be in the NHL sooner than 3 years. But, like, even if I think it'll take 3 years, but he'll get here. And even if it's not the Flyers, like, say he's like, oh, I want to go somewhere else. Trading his rights is also a haul. It's the best asset to take with the 7th overall pick. That's why I'm not concerned.
That's seriously a great point, man. Because if worse comes to worse, and that actually happens, but that wouldn't even happen because he wants to play for Philadelphia. So the only way that he actually does not play for our team, is if something insanely bad happens with Russia.
I get a sense that he had a great conversation with that front office.
He met with them in fucking Voorhees, man.
But I get a sense that they really convinced him on, hey, like, we want you.
It was the other way around, apparently. Not to cut you off.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure it may have been mutual.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the room, they were probably like, dude, if we take you, we're going to spend the next 2 to 3 years making this around you, preparing for you. And when you're here, it's your team. Everything that we do is in preparation for you, and we will accommodate you. That's why I really think... I can't
believe we have this guy, dude. I keep looking at the draft results. Bedard, Carlson, Fantilli, Smith, Reinbacher, Simashev, Michkov to Philly.
Insane.
My God.
Insane. NHL GM mode. Levels of fantasy. I can't believe something went our way for once. I mean, when we lost the lottery, I mean, we didn't expect to win, but when we lost the lottery, if I could have went back that day and told myself, buddy, listen, you didn't lose the lottery.
It's fine. Trust me.
You did not lose the lottery. He might be the best. What if he is the best?
Dude, if he was Canadian, there would be arguments that he is better than Connor Bedard. It's just the fact that he's Russian. It's the fact that he slid down so much. It's the reality. I'm not even sitting here talking bullshit or.
No, you're right.
It's the fact that he's Russian.
He didn't have a chance to display talents at the World Juniors, right? As well.
Nope.
Yeah, these things all play a part. And I think I remember texting you I'm glad he didn't have that opportunity because now he's gonna drop. Dude, it all played out so perfectly. Yep. It really did.
They really did, man.
I wouldn't change a thing. Swear to God.
In the net hockey, our boy, day one. When can we realistically see him in orange and black? Has to be 2 years at least, probably more. I think 2 years is a good minimum to put on it if he would come early. Because, I mean, he did say today in an interview through his translator that it is quote unquote soon when he would be coming over. So,
dude, if after 2 years, if the Flyers put together a little promising season, I'm not talking about deep playoff run, but if they put together a little promising season that it's if I join this team, they're ready to take the next step. He might.
I mean, who did the Washington Capitals just sign a month ago? Their first round pick from either last year, 2022, or 2021, Ivan Marchenko, something like that. Sorry if I butchered his name, but they just signed him, who is from Russia. So,
and we want that too. At the end of the day, as selfishly, I would love to see Michkov playing in October. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would absolutely love it, but it actually plays out better. It really does, because you just put him on ice. You put him on ice and you keep him cost controlled. And when your window is finally open, he's going to be dirt cheap.
Yep.
And that's how you win in a hard cap National Hockey League, and that's why I'm so excited right now.
I mean, we watched 12 Russians. No, 12 Russians.
Yeah,
we watched,
talk your talk about the Russians.
We watched 3 Russians go top 12. Simashev, Boot, and then obviously Michkov to us. We watched 3 guys go top 12, and we had to listen to people talk to us for months and months and months and tell us that these guys were going to fall till like the second round because they were Russian, and it's just not realistic. These guys have all gone top 12. The only other Russian is Gulyev, who's still on the board right now, and let's see if Colorado picked them. They did! They did! On the fucking queue. Oh my god. They went in. So we got 4 Russians that go in the first round when I had to hear people talk for months and months and months.
Can we take a second? Look at how Colorado moves.
They're ridiculous. I hate them.
They just move with swagger, dude. Even on the draft floor.
Fuck them. Like, honestly. It's to the point now where it's like, fuck them.
Like, you're picking 31st overall, and you're still money.
And
fuck you guys.
You land him. That sucks. That hurts. I'm happy they're not in the fucking Eastern Conference. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, we have enough to deal with over here, though.
Yeah. Flyers clips. When is Comcast paying the $100 million to buy out Michkov's contract?
That's another thing I was thinking about. I was actually talking to my dad about this today. I was like, I think like the reason why he didn't want to. I mean, there's not really a lot of other small market. Maybe Arizona, San Jose's kind of smaller. Mm-hmm. But I was like, the beautiful thing about if he would want to go to our market is, dude, we have all the money in the world.
All of it.
Like if we want to make it happen, we'll make it happen. Fuck it. Like that's.
We have Keith Jones. What's up? He's got connections.
Dude. Can you believe these guys? Can you believe it's been a month, man? Can you believe these guys? Look, this summer has been so fun. Summers have sucked as a Flyers fan for the last 10 years. They've been letdowns, they've been disappointments, and it's nice to have, even if it just ended today, this summer, without any more moves. Like it's nice to have a summer like this. I'm over the moon. I'm very excited.
I'm happy for you, bro. Like I'm happy for us. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for the fans. I'm happy for the organization. It's just, we deserve this. We really do.
For like just so many years, we had to watch great players, generational talents, got teams in the playoffs. And when is it our turn? When can we get a guy like this? When can we get a game breaker? A guy who's going to put the team on his back and win a playoff series? And I feel like we finally got it. I feel like we finally got that guy.
From Jack, our boy Jack. What is Danny Briere cooking?
Oh, he's cooking up his Sanheim move right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, he is. I think that's prior. I think after this draft, they're cheesing. They're cheersing right now, but it's back to Sanheim. I mean, come on. They can't just go away from that. Like, that was obviously a top priority this week. And going into today, we heard some talks about discussions with Calgary. I mean, there's fire here. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's definitely a fire starting here with Sanheim. And you have to think that something happens before July.
Yeah. And this is from Charlie O'Connor. Briere on Michkov. He told us he wants to play in the NHL. He told us he wants to win a Stanley Cup. He told us he wants to be a Philadelphia Flyer. Jesus Christ.
And it's so beautiful because, I don't know, the Flyer Russia thing, like there's beef there going back all the way to 76 and the Summit Series, but if Ed Snyder could see that the future of his franchise is a superstar Russian, I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't complain given this level of talent, but it's funny, and I love it though. Like, we got the yoked Russian.
We did.
Like, finally, I'm so hyped, dude. Like, years of getting destroyed by Alex Ovechkin. It's gotten so bad with Ovechkin that I can't even be mad at him anymore. It's like he's so good that you just appreciate his greatness. Like, I want him to break the record. I actually kind of like him. Like, it's good that we have that guy now. Enjoy. The clock is ticking on the rest of the Metro, too, by the way. The clock is ticking starting from today and for 2 to 3 years. You guys better get your licks in. I'm talking to the Rangers especially because the Devils will still be there. I'm looking at you, Rangers. You guys, Carolina, Rangers. Oh, they'll chalk them up. They're
Coming
done.
for you, bro.
Oh yeah, we're coming for them, but they're already done. But Rangers and Islanders, or no, Rangers and Carolina, you guys better get your licks in now. You better win now because we're coming, dude. Michkov is coming.
Ready for this?
Gautier's coming. Pause. But like, you know what I mean?
Chris Johnson, reporter Chris on Twitter. Danny Briere says the Flyers met with Michkov twice before the NHL draft. And I quote, "We were blown away with his personality. He kept saying he wanted to be a Flyer." Like,
Bro,
what the fuck, bro?
Bro, the kid's a dog too. Like I've heard Derek say
Dog.
it, but like he's a dog and he's cocky in a good way. Like I saw some reports. He's like a bad locker room guy. He's too cocky. Like he sellies too much. Like dude, I don't give a shit. He can sell you all he wants. I love that. If he wants to go bar down and do some throw his stick in the crowd, go ahead, dude. The city's yours.
Yeah, right. I mean, who gives a I mean, I saw reports that were saying like he yelled at his coach. Like, and Derek made a great point. Torts would fucking love that. Isn't that exactly what Torts is asking for? A player to speak up and kind of challenge.
And I've seen some like Torts is gonna this that. Listen, if Torts is that big of a hamper on Michkov, he won't be here.
Yeah.
Trust me. This is now Michkov's franchise.
Oh,
Buckle
absolutely.
up.
That's a great... Absolutely. You never, and I mean never, unless that player is ass. Like, if a player's a superstar or a star, and, like, the coach is going back and forth between them, you never pick the coach over the player. And now that we have Michkov, no, absolutely not. If that ever happens, Tortorella, I will talk to you. You know? Absolutely.
But I don't think it will happen.
No.
I think this is...
like him.
Yeah, me too. And I think he's gonna... just get his mindset in the right place. I think people have this notion of Torres that like he's just gonna fucking beat up on everybody, but no, I think if you're, I mean, we've seen it with the young guys this year. If you're willing to listen, take the criticism, and just wade through it and give all your effort, keep your feet moving, like that's all he really asked for. And Michkov isn't a guy who's gonna like take a shift off. I've seen some people say like, oh, his defensive game isn't all there. Listen.
If he's elite, who gives a fuck? Dude?
Listen. Yeah, exactly. If he has 100, scoring's up in the NHL too. Like scoring's up, power plays are up. Like if he's potting 110 points a year.
Yeah, I just watched like 15 guys score 100 points. You're gonna.
Yeah, I'll go out and get someone who plays defense. I don't give a shit.
I mean, we have like, Noah Cates, bro.
Yeah, I'll go out and throw money at it. Fuck it, dude. Jones can go out and go get somebody.
Exactly. Like, those are the guys that you can go out and pay for. You can't go out and pay for fucking Matvei Michkov. You know what I mean?
Especially, like, dude, he's going to be on an ELC.
It's
like, this guy might be giving you, like, $10, $11 million production and make peanuts.
He
like,
might be giving you, like, 90 points, making, like, $925,000. That's how good he is.
That's so big for winning. Like it's what we need to, because we're trying to clear cap. We're so cap strapped. Like this is the perfect jump start. Because if you can't draw it up better, man. Like this is perfect.
This is from Bleed. Love the pick. Smart move by Philadelphia. How do we build around him besides Cutter? What does management do to prepare him for his arrival in 3 years? Any worries?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is that the? I was gonna say, well, that's what the next 3 years is now, and that's what makes the next 3 years so fun. Is that it? Like I said, it's the ticking clock. Like it's all building up for the point where you plug him in, and then you just let the team go wild, and that's gonna be fun to watch because you're just gonna slowly see a foundation just get built brick by brick. You're gonna see the back end get built brick by brick. You're going to see like those depth forwards come in, start having some breakout seasons. Maybe Frost takes another step. And then just when you think those guys are really starting to hit their stride, maybe they sneak into the playoffs in 2025, you're then going to put a fucking 100-point scorer right next to them. Like that. That's insane. Yeah, it's insane. I can't stress it enough. Like I'm going to keep repeating myself like how excited I am. But I'm gonna be watching this kid's highlights until he's a Flyer.
Yeah,
like,
dude. And Bleed also asked, what number is he gonna wear?
Is it? Yeah, I also wanted to know this. Is it 39 or?
I hope not. To be honest.
I hope not as well. But if he likes it, dude,
92 would be cool.
Oh, that would be sweet. Yeah.
Right.
But whatever he wants, like, listen, if he wants a 39, I'll have 5 of them. Don't care. But
absolutely. Bleed finishes out with great night for the Flyers. Let's fucking go. Looking forward to the pod. Wake me up in 3 years. We will, Bleed. We will.
Dude, and that's the thing. It's not like it's a meaningless 3 years. Like, we have that stockpile of assets for next draft. And we have the young pipeline that we talked about that are going to take even more steps. Like, dude, it's going to be a fun 3 years building to that point. At least I think. Yeah. Like, I'm not expecting to win, so it's going to be fun for me just to see the young. Because now it just becomes waiting for him, right? So, like,
yeah,
it's not even about, like, Joe, are they going to make the playoffs? It's like, Frost is looking great. Tippett's looking great. I think Gauthier is looking great. I think Michkov's going to fit. Like, it's all about him now, and that's what makes it so fun.
The next 2 years are all about taking risks, whether that's acquiring younger players who might have not got on to the right start with their initial team. Anything in terms of taking in a young player who might be down with another GM and seeing if he can produce with you and just giving him a chance is what they should be doing for the next year, 2 years. Taking in the projects like Owen Tippett, Morgan Frost, but they didn't take him in. They already had him. But, like, projects like that is what they should be targeting for the next 2 years. And like you said, build your team to eventually accommodate Michkov coming up. And like you said, the Michkov pick gives you the room to kind of not reach, because I generally think they like Bonk, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, and like I said, I trust those scouts, man. Yeah. I do. And you said it yourself, and I agree. Like, obviously don't know a ton about this kid, but at this point, just from the track record that I've seen, especially with defensemen, usually when this scouting regime has drafted a defenseman, I usually like their play, and especially as they grow and develop into a better player, I've liked their track record with defensemen, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt here, even though I don't know too much about them.
Yeah, for sure. Dom, our boy, from watching Michkov get drafted and his interviews after, it sounds like a guy who wants to be in orange and black. I predict 2 years, and then he comes over. Perfect timeline to get some more prospects, clear some cap, and in 2025 and 2026, let's compete.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when we're ready, this is what he said. When we're ready, you'll know. And now we're really gonna know, because this is so different than plopping in a guy who needs to have, like, a kid on a rookie year who's gonna put up a 40, 50-point season. Like, he's gonna be a stud, but he's not all there yet. It's not gonna be that. This is a guy who's used to playing against grown men. He's going to come in here and destroy grown men.
That's free money.
I can't wait.
That's free money, by the way. When he comes over for his first year, put all the money you have in your bank account on him winning Rookie of the Year. Because he's going to be 21, 22 years old, competing against like 18, 19-year-olds who were rookies in the NHL because he finally came over. It's definitely going to be easy money, kind of a Kaprizov situation, if you will. And that kind of like moves us into the next question from Jake. Is what are your NHL comparisons for Michkov and Bonk? Bonk, I don't have one because I don't know too much about him. But if I were to give Michkov an NHL comparison, it would be Kirill Kaprizov, which is insane that even came out of my mouth. The fact that we have a guy that compares to him.
It's a great comparison, though, and it's not even just because of the Russian thing. It's just the fluidity in his
edges.
Movements.
Like they both don't have good straight line speed. They both don't have good acceleration out of their first step, but they both have elite edges, elite hands, elite hockey IQ, and elite shots. So, I mean, like, these guys are extremely comparable if you actually break down their tape and look at how they do so well the way they do, because each guy in this top 5, top 6 is great in their own way, and it's kind of like beautiful if you look at it, because each, like, Bedard's good in his own way, Fantilli's obviously good in his own way, Carlson, Michkov, Benson, all these guys. I mean, it's just it's extremely cool to see a top 5, top 6 that is just different in the sense of each of these guys are so good in their own ways. So yeah, Kaprizov as a comparison for Michkov is honestly, besides the Russia factor,
is the best comparison that I could think of, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, you got me convinced. Like I
Yeah.
was trying to think of one, but that actually does like truly make the most sense. Like in terms of like you said, just edges. It's the fluidity for me. Like both those guys are just so smooth. It's almost like they make it look so easy, but what they're doing is generational. So it's I do agree with the comparable for sure.
In the net hockey, when can we realistically see him in orange and black? Has to be 2 years, probably more. If I were to guess, 2 years would be when we see him. 2-3 years.
ESPN opening night, Michkov versus Hughes at the Wells Fargo Center. Can you just see it? And it's real too. Like this isn't me going like, oh, what if they win the lottery and get Bedard? Like we have them. It's going to be Michkov versus Hughes. And I said this to you earlier, but fuck it. I hope Chicago gets good. I hope we get good. Michkov versus Bedard, Cup final. I want my get back. I want revenge. I'm talking a lot of shit right now, but dude, I'm just so excited.
They just posted a fucking video of Michkov doing like the camera going around him and him pointing to his name on the back of the jersey, dude. Jesus Christ, dude.
But the quotes too, like obviously anyone who gets drafted or comes to Philadelphia, there is a little bit of pandering, and we always love it. I'll take it any day. But he just seemed like I'm liking what I'm hearing out of him. I mean, the talking about winning, Stanley Cup winning. I want to win here. I want to win. I love it. I mean, I'm sure he was fed that to say that, but fuck, yeah. I love it. You know he wants to win. Any Russian who is going to the NHL, they do it for legacy. They do it for notoriety. They want to win. You can make money in Russia. I mean, it might not be... Actually, in some cases, it is more than you would make here. But
yeah.
But these guys want to build a name for themselves. They want to play on the biggest stage. And that's why I don't get these people who are like, oh, he's not going to come over, blah, blah, blah. He wouldn't have been on the floor tonight, I don't think, if he...
genuinely had plans to not come over. Like, this kid is going to be an NHL player.
This kid's going to be a Philadelphia Flyer, baby.
Philadelphia, let's go, dude. Come on, baby. Jesus Christ, man. I can't believe it.
Just the name. I saw you tweet it. Just the name.
Sounds elite.
It does, dude. I could just hear a commentator on ESPN. Just Michkov, rebound, Scott. Like, dude, I could just...
Stop!
It's fire.
Stop. I need to hear it, Daddy. I need to hear it, bro. Got Heat Daddy on Twitter. Let's take a peek into some Montreal fans' thoughts on the draft because they went Ryan Bacher over Michkov. Like, you know there are some heated Montreal... Like, granted... They needed a right-handed defenseman. Absolutely. But, and I mean, this is a point that I made with Derek when we were going back and forth between Leonard and Michkov. And while I agree that, like, Leonard and Michkov are... No, I'm sorry. That Benson and Michkov are better players than Leonard. That if we would have, like, say Michkov would have went before us and we went Leonard, if that was their number one guy, that's their number one guy. I don't think we're in any position to go draft a guy for fit. You know what I mean? Like, go draft the guy that's number one on your board, and then we'll go and we'll deal with the fit shit when we're ready to compete. You know what I mean? But the fact that we have Michkov, and I mean, you said it when Washington walked up there. They looked fucking mad.
Oh, that guy looked pissed.
Mad.
That looked like a team that, dude, at the end of the day, we were 7, they were 8. That's how it fell, and it sucks for them, and it's great for us. And it's great for us. Finally, we got like a bounce, something that went our way. We had a little bit of a leverage piece here. Like, there was no maneuvering out of that for Washington. There just wasn't. Like, we had the better positioning. It was checkmate. We had them. We played it beautifully. And, dude, you know what's so poetic about this? Do you remember all the Montreal fans that gave us shit about passing on Caulfield? And, you took York, and now look at Caulfield. Like, to this day, like, those little Quebecians, they're still in the threads talking shit about that. Enjoy this one, guys. Enjoy this one. Because I think you guys are going to look back on this one and regret it a lot more than we're going to regret the Cole Caulfield thing. So enjoy it.
I mean, I made a video about how that talk needed to shut the fuck up. Because, I mean, you're talking about two different guys who play two different positions. Cam York and Cole Caulfield.
One guy's a winger. Like, dude, like, it's much easier to play winger in the NHL than it is to try to be your team's best puck-moving defenseman. Like, it's two completely different roles, two completely different developmental paths. You can't even judge York until I think he hits, like, the 250, 300 game mark. Dead ass.
Absolutely. I mean, like, we talked about the position difference, and you can't compare the two. Right wing and defenseman are just in different atmospheres in terms of just development and when those guys hit their peak. So it's a lot easier to play wing in this league. Not that it's easy at all, but it's a lot easier to play wing than it is defenseman in this league. So, like you said, wait 2-3 more years until you have an actual opinion about Cam York. Like, if Cam York is still playing on a second pair and isn't really showing the offensive pop that you think he could have brought on a power play one, then yeah, we can start talking about how maybe that Caulfield pick was the wrong one. But until then, I still have the utmost confidence that York becomes a top 2 defenseman in this league who just is an extremely good power play quarterback and puts up points and just is serviceable defensively. So I don't think he'll ever become the shutdown defenseman, but elite stick, elite skates. I mean, the kid can skate with his eyes closed in the rink. So all the high hopes for him.
Remember when I texted you the other day and I was like, dude, kids in Philly nowadays just don't like hockey and the Flyers, and rightfully so. And we need a team that's going to kind of like, much like how the Phillies had that revival, we need a team that's going to bring that revival to the Flyers. This is the guy, man. This is the guy that's going to have the next generation. Much like how my favorite player growing up, Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux made me fall in love with the game of hockey. I would not have this podcast today, or I would not be on here with Chris today if it wasn't for watching Claude Giroux. He made me love the game that much. Michkov is going to be that for the next generation, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the building filled with jerseys and just all the hardship that we went through. I can't wait to see the day where he debuts and everyone has his jersey and and there's a feeling of like, we're fucking here finally. I can't wait.
Am I crazy to go out and buy a number 92 jersey when those finally become available? Like, I know he might not be 92, but
you would think if I was them, honestly, like, he's that good of a player that I would just like figure that out now and then put it on their store now. If I was them, if just thinking it as a business sense, I'd be like, yo, Mitchie, like, what
that's
number
not happening, but I wish.
I'd be like, what number do you want to wear in advance so that we can sell these jerseys for 3 years? Because they'll sell.
I mean, you make a pretty good point in terms of Comcast kind of being greedy. I could see them doing that in terms of being able to sell jerseys quick, but I don't know. Getting his number before he's actually in the NHL.
I'm just too excited.
I know. I don't blame you, man. I mean, we just got a superstar, man. We really just got a fucking generational talent, 7th overall.
There's so many nights, so many years where I just didn't think a day like this was gonna come. I thought we were just destined to be like that laughing stock, mediocre team that was just gonna keep doing patchwork and fucking up development. And it just like it really felt for a while that light at the end of the tunnel I speak of, it really was getting kind of dim there.
Yeah.
And we're back.
We
are back, and we're back in a way that we haven't seen since starting this podcast. I mean, when this finally bears fruit, it's going to be unlike anything we've ever covered, and I'm very excited for it. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to have a blast the entire time. To anyone who's listening and have been listening, I'm happy for you, and I can't wait for the future and what this is going to be for us and the memories, the playoff runs, and because now it's inevitable now, baby. Yeah. It is. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. Like, we're coming.
I'm sorry, you can't convince me that there's not light at the end of the tunnel with Cutter Gauthier and Tyson Forrester and Matvei Michkov.
Yeah, bro. Like, we're coming, dude. The Metro they better be ready. I'm just saying, I'm excited. This is what we needed, baby.
Right before we sign off in the next couple of minutes, we got to talk about the 22nd overall pick. Can't not say anything about this kid. Oliver Bonk. 10 goals, 30 assists, 40 points in 67 games in the OHL for the London Knights last year. 11 points in 21 playoff games for them. So, 11 assists, 0 goals. So, this is a kid, like you said, 6'2", defends really well, has a nice breakout pass out of his own zone. Don't know too much about him. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. But
definitely going to spend the next week or so looking into him more,
Absolutely.
watching more of his games, because I'm excited at the thought of it, just seeing it on paper, the kind of player, and knowing the amateur scouts. Like I said in the past, I've liked the defensemen they have drafted, so yeah, I'm going to take a look at this guy definitely with an open mind. I think this organization is looking for the counterpart for Cam York. Is what I think they're looking for.
Absolutely.
And I think that this is what that shot in the dark, or maybe not even shot in the dark, this is what that swing was. They are looking for Cam York's counterpart because they're putting him back in his natural position for a reason. They traded Provorov, and now we're trying to trade Sanheim for a reason. They want York to take the next step. But they still need the counterpart because they're blowing up the back end in real time here. So it makes sense. It does. And we're going to look into the guy more, but... Perot, I mean, come on, that would have been sweet for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Sucks
but
that he's a Ranger, but like you said, taking Michkov gives you the room to kind of reach for a guy that you love, and if they like him, and you look at their past selection, especially since Flair has been in the organization with York, with Brink, with Andrea, with Cutter, with Forrester, you have hope that it can pan out. And I mean, and you look at the Provorov trade, what they brought back. They brought back a first round pick, 22nd overall, 2 second-round picks, and held grounds. So, and that's
yeah,
another,
who knows what he has all the tools. Not saying he's going to be top pair, but he has all the tools in the world. If he puts it together, yeah, he could be in maybe your bottom 4. He could maybe, and he could fill in nicely, and he'd be cost controlled. That's why I said the vision of this regime, their mind is in the right place. I remember I sent you that interview with Keith Jones, that hour-long radio interview, and he mentioned the Tampa Bay Lightning and Colorado Avalanche. This is how you have to build a team. There's no shortcutting it. There's no trying to get around it. When you have a hard cap, you have to follow the model that those teams took. And so far, it's been a month or two. They are operating like one of those franchises, and it's
So
very
far.
refreshing. And I hope it continues.
we'll see where it goes, man. It's an exciting start. You have day 2 tomorrow, and then obviously development camp coming up, which we're not going to see Michkov there, which sucks, obviously.
Oh my God.
It's still
So I have a question for
Yeah.
you. Would there be a development camp ever in which you would see him? Or would he get signed, you'd see him in training camp? Or would he be in the development camp after he signs?
he would be in the development camp after he signs.
Wouldn't he, even if he's 20, 21,
Yeah,
he'd still be in it?
I think you'd
Okay.
still see him, yep.
Dude, that's got to be in the Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah,
That
that's
you-
definitely a camp that you open up to a little bit more than just the public. You invite everybody, the media, fucking the president. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Dude?
Let's touch on 2 things real quick.
Mhm.
Kevin Hayes trade.
Kevin fucking Hayes to the St. Louis Blues for a 6th-round pick in 2024 with 50% retained, huh?
That 3-year window that I was talking about,
Yep.
just in time for someone to come over right when it's ready to win.
Right when we're eating his contract, right? Or we're
There
done
is
eating
so
it.
much made about the trades this week, the leaks this week, so much information that I'm not even going to say is misinformation, but maybe just jumping the gun too early. Half the team got dealt, and then it didn't. So, I mean, it was definitely a crazy week to be on Twitter. It was a frustrating week
Yeah.
because we were operating as if, hey, not only are we going to get Hayes and Sanheim out of here, but there might be a first-round pick or something coming back that could help us here in this draft. None of it panned out, and so obviously everyone got frustrated, but today happened, so the mood of everyone is going to be great now. But it was definitely a chaotic week. I mean, what could you expect for Kevin Hayes is what I would ask anyone who's upset at that trade. They had to get rid of him. It clearly wasn't a fit. It was clearly a toxic locker room fit. You just saw the Ryan Johansson deal. What did you expect for just Kevin Hayes by himself is what I asked the people who were upset about it. Because there was some people upset about it.
Absolutely. And Derek just made a really good tweet. And he goes, "For the record, I don't think Michkov is being insincere about wanting to be a Flyer. Philadelphia is a huge market, and the Flyers are a storied hockey team. This is his opportunity to carve out his own legacy. This isn't the next Ovechkin. He's the first Michkov."
Bro, it's a legacy, bro. That's what I was saying. Like, he wouldn't be on the draft floor. Like, these guys are chasing legacy. They can make money in Russia. They can be famous and make money in Russia. The reason why these top tier guys come over is because they want to be the best on the best stage and win. Like, you saw how much winning the Stanley Cup meant to Ovechkin, and I know they're different people, but like, I don't know. Ovechkin was kind of the same way when he came in. Like, oh, he's too cocky. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, and you just kind of see it on him now in his later years. Like, that guy is a straight gamer, and from what I'm hearing about Michkov, I believe he's all about winning too. I mean, how could you not be? Like, why would he be here?
No, exactly. Absolutely.
It's so stupid to think about. Like, guys, calm down, dude. You just got a generational talent. Shut up. Like, I don't want to see any Flyers fans on Twitter be, he's not going to come over. He's not gonna, like, guys, enjoy this. Yep. Pull up YouTube, watch his highlights. He's coming, guys.
You have him.
He's coming, guys. Like, pull up YouTube and watch the highlights and enjoy.
Yeah, exactly,
for once,
bro.
For once, stop being negative. Stop being pessimist. This is the one guy where they can't be like, oh, this prospect's not going to pan out. Guys, he's inevitable. Go on YouTube, pull up the highlights.
He's ridiculous.
And this is from him.
He's
Flyers
insane.
Instagram. I'm glad to be a Flyer. I have no words. This is my dream. My dream is to win the Stanley Cup.
This is awesome, dude. Like, I know I keep repeating myself, but Jesus Christ. Like,
But
this is dream scenario.
It really, you can't stress it enough. Like, dude, it's the most stacked draft in the last, 8 years? And you got what some people are calling the second best. It could be the first, but definitely probably the second best talent. And in the most stacked draft in the last 8 years, and he just so happened to fall. You did not have to use assets to go up and get him. You were able to keep those assets. Because of the smoke screens you threw out, like, they played it perfectly.
Yep.
That was a good front office. That's how they moved. They moved like a good front office for once.
But we're here for it, man.
Absolutely.
I have nothing else to say. I think we covered everything.
No, we'll be back soon.
There's only so many times that I can say how excited I am and just talk about Michkov, how he's a Flyer. Bonk, obviously, right-handed defenseman. Adding a right-handed defenseman, I mean, they're gold in the NHL. So anytime you can add one of those guys as a prospect, 18, 19-year-old, you do it. And if they like that guy, I like that guy. Obviously, I'm going to look into him more, but
They took two big swings. That's what they did.
Yep.
They took two big swings, and if it pays off, what you're going to have is a generational forward, and you might have a very good. I'm not sure if it's ceiling, like I said, but you might have a very good right-handed D, which is a hot commodity asset in the NHL. If these two big swings pan out, and that's what we've been asking for. So if these two big swings pan out, it will bear fruit. So I'm excited. And we'll be back soon. I think we should do another episode probably early July, like maybe right after free agency kicks off. Hopefully there's a Sanheim deal maybe sprinkled in between.
Well, they got till Saturday to trade that bull.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? You think we should come back like July 2nd or 3rd just so that we can like feel out free agency?
Yeah, I say next Tuesday or Wednesday would be good, the 4th or 5th.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So that's
it. Well, this was my favorite episode. Just pure excitement, man. I can't believe it happened.
We got him.
I'm so happy to be a Flyers fan for once. It's
in a while. It's been a while since I've been genuinely excited to be a Flyers fan.
And now we just see what comes next, man. This is episode 98 of The Liberty O. Follow us on all socials at The Liberty O. Follow me on Twitter at TLY Danny. Follow Chris at Chris Stomps.
And go Flyers.